I would not be surprised if we get to the finish and we are not sure who the champion is until we get to the podium presentation, because I would be very surprised if any team is able to completely run away with it.
Yes.
Today on the boys' side, because there's 2 or 3 teams that are just so good that I can't imagine there being a lot of separation up front.
No. And then again, as they kind of prepare on that start line there, you take a look at that, and then paired, we got a pretty good individual battle with some national caliber runners here today too. Curtis, Gabe Findell. Looks like some last-minute instructions here from the officials.
Now, our plan for after this race, the broadcast will stay on live and present the podium presentation. But after the boys' race, after we get a chance to sort of recap what we saw there, we are going to sign off from the audio commentary and allow all the official results to be broadcast from the PA announcer at the awards podium presentation, which will start at 2:30. So our break right now is that we're watching, waiting for the boys' race to start here. We don't want to miss it on our watches, and we want to get an idea of where the time is. And we're over a quarter mile away from the start, so we're sort of watching and we're sort of looking. Looks like the starter now has the gun and the flag out, and on the screen you'll probably see the runners get called up to the starting position here, which is happening just now. So we are seconds away here. And there's the gun. The boys' race is underway here in the 2016 IHSAA Boys State Championship. If you are just joining us, we are just underway with the boys' race. The girls' race has completed. I am Derek Leininger of IndianaRunner.com and joined by Daryl Stevenson of RunCurrent.com. We're providing the commentary for today's state championship races, boys and girls, from the Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country Course here in Terre Haute, Indiana. You are watching us live on IHSAATV.org. We are now about 30 seconds into the boys' race. As they come by the booth here, we'll get a chance to see who some of our early leaders are. And it looks like already I can see Bailey McIntyre on our left side as he's approaching, has already kind of cleared his section of the starting area. But we'll get a real close view as they come by here. They'll pass by us, and we'll get an idea of what we're looking at here.
Boy, Bailey's really out. Actually, Bailey really got out to a strong start there. Looks like Gabe Findell right next to him, and right there's Kurt Eckstein. So even earlier than the girls' race, these leaders going out strong. We got McIntyre leading the charge there. Looks like
the Westview trio on the left side there.
Yep, they're getting out strong, and then you got some other. There's Aaron Bennett, Westfield putting himself in position.
So interesting right now is that McIntyre sort of flipped the script a little bit there in the first couple minutes, in that he's sort of taking the race out just a little quicker than Eckstein even did. But now Eckstein is up with him. Yep. Gabe Findell right in the race with him. So we'll start to see as the shot here in a second coming of where we're at in terms of these leaders.
Yep. So there we go. Kind of they start and not just kind of 10 mile an hour, guys. We're talking about probably 20 mile an hour headwinds as they near down the downhill here, as they make kind of revert back to the K.
So as expected, we have Eckstein right up front, and as expected, we have Gabe Findell right on his hip, and on the other hip is Bailey McIntyre, South Adams. Those are 3 of the runners that we talked about and expected to go to the front right away.
Colin Murphy in position there for Carmel, obviously, as we pay attention to them throughout the team battle, and Evan Bouillet right with him.
Now you can see a little bit. It's hard to tell, but you can see a little bit on some of the jerseys blowing. They are going into a pretty nice headwind, but already you see there's a little separation between Eckstein and Findell. Now back to the runners. Even the top 5, you see separation after that. So we're approaching here. You'll see just as we're approaching the kilometer, we hope to get some splits to be able to help identify who some of these runners are up in this top group. Obviously, we know who our top 2 runners are, Eckstein and Fendel, but we're trying to get an idea on who some of the other top runners are up here.
Look through and just sub 3, so right around the mid 250s there for the leaders. You see Bailey McIntyre already a little bit of a gap.
Yep.
We talked about that was a tough straightaway, so we'll see if he can kind of reposition himself here throughout the rest of the course of this race.
Yep. And yeah, you already see. So that's an honest pace early, which is what we expected to see, and it almost. I mean, I'm not in the minds of these guys, but it almost looks like everybody else is sort of saying, okay, well, those 2 are sort of have our own race for the the rest of the spots, 3 on back, but
yes.
Yep. That is Eckstein and Fendel chasing the lead vehicle there, and then we have a significant gap back to the rest of the leaders. We're hoping to get some information up on the screen from our kilometer splits to be able to tell us identify some of those other runners. We know McIntyre there is in 4th place, the yellow and black checkered jersey from South Adams. But it's hard to tell, with guys all in the mix here, who some of the other runners are at this point.
The color of the jerseys, some teams it looks like have changed up jerseys here, which throws another wrench into the factor. I've already kind of looked through some of the teams I'm familiar with and seen some jersey changes.
Okay, so there are some results. So that is Matthew Shadler,
yes,
which is not surprising. He was the runner-up last week in the Brown County Semi-State.
Yep.
So we're trying to get some, as they're kind of pulling the information up here.
Yeah, Matt Shadler and then Austin Haskett was the other. Edgewood, yeah.
Those are runners from the south we talked about, could really make some noise here today.
Yep, so they're putting themselves in position early, and then after that it's just as we kind of figured, 2-man race up front, and then huge pack, and there's 25, 30 guys that'll be vying from there. Yep,
and this is probably our hardest shot to get because they are on the complete backside of the course right now, just passing through the mile mark. But Eckstein is leading. It looks like he's already got about a 5-meter gap on Gabe Fendel just past the mile mark there. And then there's about a 40-meter gap back to 3rd place. So it does appear to be kind of similar to the Shelby State, where they're leading 2 and then a huge gap back to the rest of the field. But that's more a function of the fact that Eckstein is just setting a hard early pace, not necessarily the rest of the pack is sitting back and running conservative. It's just so fast up front. That's why you see that big gap already.
You do, and then it looked like, again, not right there. The camera wasn't quite there, as you've indicated, Derek. Tough spot for us to kind of find that position, but it appeared to be a sub-5 first mile, at least from this distance.
So they are now approaching the 2K. I don't know if the leaders maybe have already passed the 2K, but they are in that range, and hopefully we'll be able to get some 2K splits up on the screen here pretty soon. But we know Eckstein and Fendel are leading 1-2. We know that Shadler of Evansville Memorial and the Bailey McIntyre South Adams are leading the chase group, which also includes trying to get some more identification here on screen of some of these other runners.
Parker Jones, Matt Shadler.
Matthew Yoder of Westview is in there.
Yep.
Jesse Hamlin of Snyder is in there in the middle.
There's Colin Murphy on the outside. So Colin Murphy putting himself in some really good position early for the Carmel as we pay attention to them from the team perspective.
Yep. Yeah, so what you see right there on the screen is about your 3 through 14 or so. So the leader is not correct. That is not Pitts. That's somehow that coming up. Eckstein and Fendel are 1-2. Skylar Stedham from Christian Academy's up there. Richmond Stoltzfus of Westview.
Alec Flemings, so pay attention to Lowell as they look.
Yeah, we talked about Roth of Fishers having a really nice race. Austin Haskett, sophomore from Edgewood. Ian Hunter of North Central, your alma mater, is up there.
Ian Hunter's he's another guy that just gets lost in the mix of all those fast times. And then as you look now, Cole Hawker.
Yep.
About 20th. He's changing his race strategy a little bit, I think, as we talked about.
Now, if you look at the team race, right now Carmel is out. We do not see any Carroll boys in the top 20 right now, but that's not necessarily surprising because they will probably move up throughout the race. But at this point, Carmel already has about a 25-point lead at 2 kilometers on Carroll, and Carroll is just barely leading HSE by 6 points. And now you see on the screen a significant gap is already established between Eckstein and Gabe Fendel of HSE.
Oh, man.
They are well clear of the field. But Curtis Eckstein just drives a punishing pace up front.
He sure does.
Challenges anybody to stay with him, and that's been his strategy all year. It looks like he's doing the same thing today, and it's working pretty well, just like it has in every race so far this season.
It is. So they're a little obviously past 2K at this point as we're nearing 8 minutes into the race. Wasn't sure we'd see this kind of separation this early.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising in this condition. He's strong.
Yeah.
Eckstein's he's a strong runner.
Now looking from, they're kind of coming in front of us. We can see a pretty good kind of real live view. And there's about a 50-meter lead or so between Eckstein and Fendel, but there's an even bigger lead behind him to third place, probably more like 70 meters or 100 meters. So I would expect Fendel to find his rhythm again and to kind of recover in the middle of the race here and still hold on for a strong runner-up spot. But right now, unless something changes, and what we're seeing, it looks like Eckstein has made a pretty early break from making a huge gap here, just right there between the 2K and what they're now approaching the 3K. He's put at least 50 meters on the second place runner from HSE.
And Gabe just needs to stay solid here. Obviously, it's a little tough mentally, obviously, the gap creation. As a runner, he's just got to stick with it and battle these conditions. As you see, the chase pack there, that looks like, that's still Matt Shadler's in that group.
Shadler's up front there. Yep. Stoltzfus from Westview.
Stedham is in that chase pack.
Stedham from Christian Academy.
Colin Murphy there. And then there
Yoder from Westview.
You can start to see there you got Concordia, Noah Steffen.
Is moving up on the outside, about to pass Cambron of Northrop. You see
Carmel 3.
Carmel runners.
Carmel 4.
Now, what I see right the first Carroll runner I see right there, that's the second Carroll runner. So it looks like they got themselves a little bit deep early. It looks like right now Carmel's 4-5 is kind of matching up with Carroll's 1-2-3. So at this point, it's halfway through the race, it'd be advantage Carmel.
Yes.
But it's still plenty of race, and it wasn't a huge gap. It's about 25 or so, give or take, point gap at the 2K. So there's still plenty of time for that to flip. But right now, it looks like Carmel boys are leading. And then we got some 3K splits. Eckstein is under 9 minutes through 3K, running by himself. He's on pace to break 15 minutes through 3K.
That's amazing.
Shadler, McIntyre, Colin Murphy, Stedham, Alec Fleming of Lowell is making a really nice move up. The Westview boys, we talked about Westview and how strong they are up front. You know, Steffen now into the top 20. You know, Bennett and Roth, you know, from Westfield Fisher still look real. Jesse Hamlin of Snyder, sophomore, is in 12th place right now. Rons of Caston, sophomore, in 11th.
Yep, and then there you got Cole Powers, the first Carroll guy coming in there at 20th. So then you take a look there with Carter Meyer, and then Draven Thompson actually running number 3 for them as they're kind of moving up. As we saw from the 2K to 3K, they've already made a little bit of a move there to kind of close that gap. Lowell actually running very well, actually moving into the 3K split. Lowell and Avon now kind of in that 3-4, so Lowell moving up.
According to this, it looks like Carroll has actually taken the lead on Carmel, which
we must have missed some guys early.
Yeah, from what we could see, Murphy up front, we saw Miller on 25th, and then there must be a couple other Carroll guys that we must have missed, because it looked like from what we saw that Carmel was still leading, but according to those, again, everything we're giving you on the screen is unofficial. You're now seeing on screen, this is Eckstein making a strong move into the second inner loop.
Boy, he looks good.
Man, he's got, I'd say, over 100 meters lead right now.
Oh, and he's churning. His form's strong. Actually, he looks like he's picking up the pace a little bit, potentially. He's just running strong. Gabe hanging in there probably still, as you guys will kind of near on the screen. Gabe still probably has about a 100-meter gap over that chase pack.
Yep.
But Eckstein is extending his lead over Findell.
Yep, and that chase pack will probably close the gap a little bit, but I would be surprised if they're able to catch him. They're probably still racing for third place back at the chase pack.
As you look at this chase pack now, I think you got about a handful, 10 runners maybe, have separated themselves from a second chase pack.
Yep.
And so running very well there with that chase pack. They're running away from us, so it's hard to see who it is. It looks like Matt Shadler.
Looks like Shadler is taking charge of that chase pack with McIntyre behind him.
Yep, and then Colin Murphy.
Murphy's still in the mix there with Stedham. Westview boys still hanging on the back of that chase pack.
There's Carroll. So there we go in the next chase pack.
Okay, so Carroll boys are now into the top 20. We see Powers and Meyer.
Yes.
And we got some more, two more Carroll coming. So it looks like
maybe 3.
Now, and we're looking at Carmel too. Though there's Carmel's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, so it's going to be a great race.
This is a toss-up. This is exactly what we thought we would see, a battle that we're not going to be able to separate probably until we get to the awards podium. 2 teams just battling it out up front.
So who's making a charge here as we look at that chase pack?
It looks like Shadler is trying to set a charge here on the front of that chase pack. McIntyre sort of trying to close the gap.
This is the hardest part of the race right here.
Yep. This is so they go in this middle or this second inner loop. They come down, but then they go back up and they head to the north section of the course, and then they come back to the straightaway, which is all into this headwind, this long straightaway.
Yes.
And they are, you know, you would expect they are pressing with maximum energy. They're 13 minutes into a 16, 17-minute race.
And that was actually Mitchell Rands from Caston, actually.
Oh, nice.
Kind of was actually that guy making that charge on the chase pack, so apologize for that.
Okay, so long move on the front of that chase pack there.
Alec Fleming moving up well. Every kilometer he's moving up in terms of his position from Lowell.
So we're trying to identify runners as best we can based on jerseys. It looks like Eckstein and Fendel are leading, which has been the case the whole way, but we're trying to identify what's going on in the chase back behind them.
Unofficially, guys, unofficially here, 3-point team race at the 4K.
Okay, so it is a battle. We will not be revealing any sort of team scores at the end. That will wait until the podium, but it is a very, very tight race, as we expected, between Carmel and Carroll. And on the home stretch, if you fade or if you charge, you can make just one individual on one of these two teams could make a double-point swing by themselves. So a couple of those things, it is absolutely not decided yet. We'll have to wait.
And there's going to be a lot of changes here in the last K. That's
Yep.
what you're going to see. This is too windy of a course. I think there's going to be drastic change in movement here.
And as you see on the screen now, and we can see down the home stretch, our leader right now is Curtis Eckstein, senior from Oldenburg Academy. He was third place here last year in just over 15 minutes. We're not sure if he's going to break 15. It's going to be very close, but he has absolutely dominated this race from an individual perspective. We're going to hope to get him up here for a quick interview at the conclusion of this race.
And you can see his form running into that headwind, kind of a little, he runs with that little bit of a slouched form anyways, but you can really see him digging in.
Yep. He is charging. It is a huge gap back to second place, one of the biggest gaps I can remember in recent memory,
yes,
from first to second place. As we expected, Gabe Fendel of HSE is still holding on to second place.
There's a charging third runner here.
Yeah, and the camera angle we're seeing is Fendel as Eckstein from behind. What is going to be interesting is what is happening between 5th place and about 40th place in terms of individual podium runners, in terms of the leaders from Carroll and Carmel and HSE. You know, from the team perspective, there is a lot of stuff happening as they get to the finish. We'll sort of be able to see some of it unfolding, but it looks like 15-12 unofficially is Curtis Eckstein, your 2016
Great race.
IHSAA state champion for boys cross country.
Dominating race. Gabe Findell here from HSE is going to get second place. Here he nears the last 50 meters. He's going to be somewhere in the mid 1530s to 1540s. And then we got a third place runner here, guys.
I think that's Ron from Caston, Mitchell Ron.
Oh, great, fantastic race. So Gabe Findell, second place here, and right about 1540.
And Ron's is your New Prairie semi-state champion, charging down the home stretch here, unofficially in third place. We're trying to identify as best we can based off jerseys and the results we've been able to see. So fourth place looks like, fourth place was Ron's.
I think third place was Skylar Stedham. Fantastic race.
Last week's Brown County State champion.
Carmel number 1.
Carroll 1.
Carroll 1.
Carroll 1.
Aaron Bennett, strong race, regroups. There's Carter Meyer from Carroll.
Right in front with Westviews.
Ian Hunter and North Central finishing strong.
For about 16-20. Those right there is approximately your podium finishers have already finished.
Wow.
Looks like there is Carroll's 2, 3.
Carroll's 3s and Carroll's 4. Carroll boys running well.
Carmel's 2.
Unless we miss somebody, guys. There is
Carroll's
Carroll's 5.
Carmel's 3, 4, 5. So it's hard to tell for sure, and we don't know. We'll let what the math hold for the podium, but very tight race up front. But it was not a tight race in the individual battle. Curtis Eckstein of Oldenburg Academy running away with the 2016 state champion. He was our highest returner from last year at a third place finish. Very similar time, but some pretty difficult conditions in terms of the wind. Yes. We're going to get him on here for an interview. Okay, so we are live.